Hello and beautiful, beautiful Monday morning to all of you. Welcome. Welcome to my returning intuitive butterflies and welcome to anybody that's new to the channel. I don't normally record videos, so this is kind of intimidating for me and this is a new experience. So let's enjoy. So we're going to start off this Monday, July the 4th. So happy Independence Day to all of my American friends. And we're going to start off just by lighting a little bit of copal. Being that I am currently in Mexico. Sage, the white sage that we normally use for ceremony, is a little bit difficult to come by down here. But the copal is just as good. So let's do a little blessing. Wave around the smoke. We'll call in the four directions, the north, the south, the east, and the west. We call in the elements, earth, air, fire, water, and of course, spirit. Oh, the scent of copal, it's beautiful. So what I would like to do today is let's make some predictions. Let's find out what's going to happen to everybody this week. So we're going to use the Osho Zen Tarot today. This is our Osho Zen deck. A beautiful deck on the bottom, which is our Harmony card. And we're going to pull our cards into three separate piles. So start thinking about which pile you think you want to have represent you for this week. Pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. We're going to pull out cards from these. Let's do a quick reading. All right. So for those of you who chose pile number 1, it's going over here, pile number 2, and pile number 3. So let's start. For those of you who chose pile number 1, what does this week hold in store for you? Ooh, the aloneness card. Okay. The aloneness card doesn't necessarily mean that you are alone or that you are unhappy. There's nothing wrong with spending time alone. This is a card that calls you to reflect upon where you're at, to really go within and discover a little bit more about yourself, who you want to be and where you want to be. This is actually a really, really nice card to have come up on a Monday because it reminds us to go back into our meditative practice during this week. It reminds us to take that time for ourselves that we always need. And it reminds us that being alone doesn't mean that you are lonely, right? We all have to learn to be our own best friends, because when we are our own best friends, we are a better person for everybody else around us. When we take care of ourselves, we are a better person for everybody else around us. So for those of you that picked pile number 1, the aloneness card is yours. And this is your reminder this week to spend some time alone, to reinforce your meditation practice, and to go within. Remind yourself of who you are. Okay. And we're going to move on to those of you who selected pile number 2. Pile number 2 for this week, you got the silence card. There is a little bit of a theme coming up here this week, isn't there? I mean, aloneness usually means that there is going to be silence, right? When we're alone, most of us don't talk to ourselves, or if we do, it's usually within our heads. For those of you who selected pile number 2 for this week, silence. This card again is calling you into that quiet, right? When we have a lot of stuff going on in our heads, chattering at us, it's impossible to make a decision. Have you ever noticed sometimes if you've got a lot of chatter going on, you have a really big decision that you have to make, and you phone a friend. And by phoning that friend and just starting to talk about what's been going on, it quiets all the rest of the voices in your head so that the only voice that's coming through, the only voice that you can hear in that moment is your own. And did you ever notice sometimes we make our best decisions just by talking to a friend, not because our friend gave us any kind of advice, but because we were able to quiet all those other voices. So this card, for those of you who selected pile number 2, is a call to silence this week. Silence all of those extra voices that are in your head. Because when you silence all those extra voices in your head, you'll notice on this card that the third eye is represented by a light in the middle of the figure's forehead. And you'll notice that it's bright and shiny and clear. The only way that we can truly tap into our intuition is when we quiet all of this chattering that keeps going on around us. So that is the work for you to do this week, those intuitive butterflies who selected pile number 2. On to pile number 3. For those of you who selected pile number 3, you ended up with rebirth. Wow. Wow. What a beautiful card. For those of you who selected pile number 3, this week represents coming out of your shell, really showing the world who you are. If you've always had a craving to go out and sing karaoke, but you never quite got up the nerve, this is asking you to go do it. Right? This is asking you to be reborn into who you truly want to be. Who do you want to be? Well, if you've done the work that pile number 1 and pile number 2 were asked to do this week, then you, pile number 3, are in a place of rebirth. Right? And this card as well represents the different cycles that we go on. You know, there's 3 characters represented on this card. 3 characters represent life, death, and rebirth. And it's what we all go through. We go through numerous rebirths in our lives, right? As we change, as we get into a different relationship, as we redefine who we are and who we are putting out to the world, we rebirth ourselves. And so this card is an opportunity for those of you who selected pile number 3 this week to really put out who you are to the world this week. If you're that bright, friendly, bubbly, outgoing person, then go be that person and bring that light out into the world. If you're that shy, introverted person who's been forced into a situation of being extroverted, but you feel introverted, then honor that and rebirth that within yourself. Go back within yourself and honor that. Both answers are correct. Society has led us to believe that we all have to be out there and we all have to be being social and we all have to be putting on our smiley, happy faces out every day, and we don't. And this week, the theme of the first 2 cards was really all about us and all about going within and all about that silence. When we have that opportunity for the aloneness and the silence, then we also have the opportunity to really discover who we are, going into card number 3 here and going into that rebirth. Who are you? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to show to the world? Another representation of the rebirth card here as well is about removing masks. So let your mask down this week. Rebirth yourself and let people see your true, honest to goodness, who you are on the inside. So with that, that's my recording. I hope it's okay. I plan on doing one of these recordings every single Monday and posting it. So if you're curious about what the cards hold in store for you every single Monday, and these cards will hold that space for you through until Sunday, please join me every Monday. Thank you so much and have an absolutely beautiful week.